would I consider myself an artist or a scientist? What a great question. I don't think there's any difference. Yeah. And that's not being remotely facetious there either. My father was a painter. My father was a fine artist and a magnificent and amazing painter. And I grew up thinking that I wanted to be an artist. And I took sculpture really seriously. And in the early 90s, when I first moved to the Bay Area, I was in group shows all over the place. And I called myself a sculptor. And it was all my creative time was spent doing that for years. And then in 1993, 94, I got hired by Jamie Heineman in special effects. And I started really taking to this career more than any other job I'd ever had. And I started noticing that as the special effects I was getting better and better at it, I noticed I was doing the sculpture less and less. And I noticed from my own past that when I was super into billiards and pool, I did sculpture less. So I know that my brain focuses creatively on one thing at a time. But I made this really clear decision with myself that I wasn't going to say I used to be an artist, because I don't think that's a useful distinction. Because the same thing was still happening in my brain. I was doing something creatively that was feeding me and giving me something back. That was all the same. The props that I make, the stuff that I collect, the things I fill my cave with, that's all part and parcel of the same thing. And so there's no used to be anything. And the most remarkable thing about doing Mythbusters is the realization that step 2 of the scientific method, or step 1, create a hypothesis, is a deeply creative act, and one filled with magic. And as Robert Pirsig points out in Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, it's one that feeds on itself. The more hypotheses you come up with, the more you can come up with. That's the very definition of creativity to me. Red hat. Where did I get my hat? This hat is a replica of